excited. I've had Zeke for a couple years in a row, and Zeke's good, but you know what the fuck you're getting with Zeke.
Yep.
Like, for better or for worse.
No, I get it, man. Barkley was the pick. I was right there too.
And man, just
So
I'm not going to hear from them at all.
what killed
about
me
the
today
president
was I
getting
was
involved
trying to
in this
replace
topic.
Kittle,
So that idea of
but it was too late.
sports, I don't want to hear
And
it.
I was
They
like
want it out
walking
when
my
it's
dog,
against
and I
them.
guess I
And
missed
so
it because of the
line
service
between
was so
sports and
shitty.
politics
So I was
on. I
stuck
don't
with
ever
Kittle
wanna
in
hear
and not Reed.
another thing of
oh no.
So my stack
feeling in the end
worked,
zone.
but
If that
everybody
distracts
else
you or
who
whatever,
correctly stacked it got
on.
Reed and
It's
beat
no
me out.
longer a-
Yep. So
like that.
Oh, look at
Okay, I'm
this.
sorry, but that's reality.
Pushing the odds with
Giants
Matt
with the
Peralt.
chance to win
Weekday
this
afternoons
game.
from 1 to 4 Eastern.
Can't quite do it.
The second level.
This is Bill Belichick.
Hey, Cowboys got stopped on their 2-point attempts.
Atmosphere like in
No comeback here, boys.
No, I just needed them to cover 8.5,
experience in your football
which
life.
they did not.
He just
Still 4.5 minutes left. 3 timeouts.
Wait a second. It's 39-24?
You don't
They just scored 39-30.
39-30. Okay, so 39-31 or no?
No, they failed on the
Ah,
two-point conversion
I
attempt.
need the ball back.
The second level.
Well, hopefully, Falcons run it 3 times.
Atmosphere like in the stadium without fans
Cowboys get that ball back, drive down the fields,
in your football life.
get Dak a few more points, and everybody's happy.
Gave 3.
He doesn't
Yeah.
even flinch. I'm telling you, this is an Abbott and Costello. They've worked on this thing. You don't just walk in with that level of timing.
The second level with Eitan Shander. Weekdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern.
Wake up call.
This is one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life. It was so
Should beat Peralt's head in this week, though, so that's positive.
You
when he
did?
said
I should be.
warmed, I was like, he thinks
The game script worked out perfectly for the Cowboys, thank God.
French,
Yeah.
Vin Scully.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Scully just
I mean, when you've got a quarterback, there's nothing better than his team going down 20-0 in the first quarter because you know they're just going to be throwing the ball the rest of that game.
Yeah,
He wants to
seriously,
do.
like
I wanna
every
hear him
single
talk about
time, right?
dirt.
Yeah, no, and
Well,
especially once you get to that 20-point deficit as prevent defenses for like 3 quarters. Oh man, it's heaven. The quarterback throws the ball 50 times and racks up 400 meaningless yards, 3 meaningless touchdowns. His team still loses by 10 or 15, but
4 cigars.
Still, those meaningless touchdowns, right?
yeah, but I'm not a Cowboys fan. I don't give a crap if they
Shit.
lose by 15.
Absolutely right.
Oh, with Tony.
Dak put up 30. I'm happy.
Mornings from 7 to 9 Eastern.
Stop with the Jeff Van Gundy.
So is it panic stations in Philly over there yet?
Well,
Nobody
yeah, I
been
mean, I'm
here for the
sure
last
it's
15
it's
years.
still
The
anger
guys
right
had
now.
Yeah.
Can't believe the
television.
Dolphins
If he
have
comes
just
back
gone
after
up.
what has it been 20 years to coach
This is
up,
insane.
heel over. I mean,
Yeah.
for every job in America, he's been offered the White House, and he turned that down too.
Farrell Coast to Coast with Scott Farrell. Weekdays from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern.
7.5 point line. No way. Yeah, Titans definitely didn't cover that one.
But where are you
No,
going?
no chance.
Bucks look like they might be
Well,
covering.
it'll cost less by booking on
Oh no, wait, they're on the
besthotelsrates.com.
Tampa Bay 5, huh?
Besthotelsrates.com.
Yeah.
The top hotels.
They just kicked the field goal, 23-yard field goal.
So it's 7
hotel, and
points.
Room choice.
7 points with 17 seconds to go. They're going to be going for the onside kick.
Hotelrates.com. Enter your
I see
email
2
address
minutes to
and
go.
Start shopping for your next.
My game score, it says
Panthers Bucks.
Bucks 24, Panthers 17 seconds left.
17 seconds. My
Yeah.
goodness, I'm way behind. What is going on here?
That's got to be wrong because I'm looking at a screen right now. Okay, my game score thing must be wrong.
Oh, all right, you got me
Just corrected
here.
to 157.
Woo, you're killing me.
Live from the studios, here's Eitan Shander.
We have an amazing week 2 to look at here. I don't even know where to begin, only because, well, I know from a big picture where to begin. From an individual game standpoint, I'll do my best to avoid the harsh reality. For anybody who thought the NFC East was going to flip back and go from worst to first when it comes to overall quality of division, that's not happening. The Philadelphia Eagles and Dallas Cowboys are taking a significant step back as we speak right now. We have a couple of games winding down. Dolphins have just gone up over the Bills, 19-17. Again, the Cowboys down 39-30. There's about 4:50 left in the game. Falcons, who jumped out early, we'll touch on that a little more in the next segment, but they hold that 39-30 lead with 4:50 left. Meanwhile, the Broncos saw Drew Lock exit early, and Mr. Driscoll steps in. So now you have Driscoll versus Roethlisberger in what a lot of people thought, and I'm sure live bet, a slaughter. Well, here comes Denver right now, marching down the field, trailing 26-21. Remember, that thing closed at 7.5. There's 3:19 left there. Lions and Packers are winding down, but that one's over. Green Bay 42-21, and it looks like that will remain the score, but that's pretty much the tell right there of how bad it got. And as this thing winds down between the Bucs and Panthers, it looks like Tampa Bay under 2 minutes is going to try and run it out. Now, speaking of all but over, just hit the 2-minute warning in Philadelphia, and the Eagles have once again been pounded into the ground, this time by the Rams, 37-19. Jared Goff, crisp as it gets out there. The complete opposite, the polar opposite of what happened with Kirk Cousins. Minnesota Vikings barely struggle to get to 11 points as the Colts knocked them off. And we just saw this one turn final too. Titans, Jags. Jets had no business playing football today, lose 31-13 to the Niners. Titans did not cover, 33-30. Action starting now. It's going to be crazy. But here's the biggest picture we can take away from week 2 so far, coming up next on the NFL Rush.
Clear.
Auto Accident Help Desk is a marketing
I'm sorry,
agency
what's that?
connecting callers with attorneys. Providers pay a fee for advertising services.
I love
Man, I don't know.
ready and driving them to
It's up to you.
school.
We've
But
got
a
a different
careless
one. Let me
driver-
ask Eitan.
Can change your life.
Eitan, we have a one stringer out in Tampa. Do you want him at this next segment or not?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, if you're
with
cool giving us an
powerful
update
lawyers.
in about
They
2
fight for
minutes,
you.
then
I
yeah,
called
absolutely.
Auto Accident Help Desk and
All
got
right, sounds
help
good.
for
We'll
my
come back. It'll be about 2.5 minutes.
Don't
on
let
hold.
an
Appreciate it,
insurance
Mike.
company take advantage of you. Our attorneys fight
So we
it.
got Mike Pepper out in Tampa. And
Pepper?
he'll give us an yeah.
Awesome.
Call 800-528-6859.
Thank you.
85859.
Yeah, no worries.
If you've been injured in an automobile accident,
My
in the
God,
last 6 months,
37-19,
you owe it
just
to yourself
watching
to
this
make
thing
this
click
free
down.
call.
0-2. I can't wait.
We're
I'm
available
on.
24/7.
Well,
Help you get the
tomorrow
money you
during the
deserve.
day,
Your
I'll
pain and
definitely
suffering.
get hammered
Auto Accident
because
Help Desk helps
on the
accident victims like
this
you
net on the
every
network,
day.
I was
Call 800-528-6859.
bragging about this game, but
Yeah.
locally, I'm sure it'll just be. I have to
That's
wait until 6 o'clock my
800-528-6859.
time. So
You're going on a
I'll
trip,
catch a lot of the
but
people
where
that
are you gonna stay?
evening
How
anger.
much will it cost? Well, it'll cost less.
And Stephon
0-2.
Diggs has been massive today for the Bills.
Yeah, he has.
HotelRates.com works with all the top hotels in the country while delivering you great hotel and room choices for the best prices. Why wait? Go to
I'm shocked by the effort the Jags have been putting in, though, man. I thought that team was going to be quitting, dead man walking heading into the season.
Yeah, I mean it's hard, right, to just
Inspirational.
lose football
No.
games.
Yeah.
The Sentinel Group sponsors this paid advertisement for legal services. And
Who
is
knows,
responsible
too? You know,
for
you get the
legal
right
services.
attitudes out.
Attention.
Yeah, that's true. You know, everyone complains about they're shipping out this talent. If they're shipping out the bad apples in the locker room,
Tag and
keep the guys who really want to be there, want to work hard.
Yeah.
That changes a lot.
updated with cancer-causing agent.
Shit, you get enough guys who are coming up on
may be linked to
contracts or looking to get paid,
colon,
even if it's
yeah,
elsewhere.
of a
There's
deal,
no
intestinal,
nothing better than
kidney,
self-motivation.
liver,
So
ovarian,
you put guys in the right
sciatic,
spot.
stomach,
People
testicular,
know it
and
might be their
uterus.
ticket out of
If
there.
you
Yeah.
have been diagnosed with cancer.
I mean, I'm going to be honest. I didn't think Minshew was for real. I didn't think that he would come out and do what he's done these first couple of games.
Yeah, I mean, 2 games so
Got
far.
first consult
340 yards, 3 touchdowns. That Tennessee defense isn't exactly awful.
Sensation. Call 800-325-8544.
My goodness, man. I can't believe I'm sitting here
325
looking at an
8544.
0-2 season
That's 800
where
325-8544.
Dak Prescott
Big
is
changes we're all dealing with is wearing a mask.
average,
but not all offer the same
and
comfort and
Saquon
protection.
Barkley
I
is
recommend
out.
the Boomer Naturals 3-layer comfortable, breathable
I
mask.
wonder, maybe that
with
helps the
nano silver
Eagles.
Technology. Nano silver can block those tiny drops and
That
particles
the
from getting
division
to
is
your
an
nose and
absolute
mouth.
mess.
They also offer those popular nano silver neck gaiters available sizes for adults.
Just like it was last year, man.
It's worse, I think.
BoomerNaturals.com. Use promo code Scott.
2
and save
minutes, man. This
20%. That's
fucking
code
Denver team.
Scott at BoomerNaturals.com.
Plus 260 on the money line.
Coming back.
Mike Pepper, correct?
Yes, out in Tampa.
Right.
The NFL Rush continues on the SportsMap Radio Network.
Powered by Rocket Mortgage.
Live from the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios, here's Eitan Shander.
Couple of finals we'll get to in a matter of minutes, but let's go live out to Tampa as there is not much time left on the clock. Carolina trying to hold on to some life if they have any left. Mike Pepper is covering the game, courtesy to give us an update. Mike, appreciate the time.
Yeah, no problem. And I think that little life that we thought they may have was squashed. They were able to kick a field goal right at the 2-minute warning to cut the Buccaneer lead 24-17. The onside kick was recovered by Rob Gronkowski, his first touch of the day, although it may have gone off his hands. And then at that point, it was Leonard Fournette. When we last talked to Jason, the Buccaneers had 38 rushing yards midway through the fourth quarter. They now have 122. All 84 of those were Leonard Fournette, and he did get his second touchdown of the game. 31-17 is the Bucs. As the countdown is, Carolina still has one timeout left. They are approaching the red zone, but with 28 seconds and counting, it may be going. But the Carolina big news is Christian McCaffrey left this game after he got his second touchdown of the game. He rolled that ankle, and he has not returned to the game since. It's been Mike Davis as the Carolina does get into the red zone, and they will call their last timeout with 14 seconds left. So all eyes will be on that. Teddy Bridgewater, not a good one today. He has thrown for over 300 yards, but he has 3 turnovers, 2 interceptions, and a fumble, and the Buccaneers converted that to 17 of their 24 points. So it has been an okay day for Tom Brady, 23 of 35, 217 yards, a touchdown, and a pick, which will be looked at, but a little bit of a game management in the fourth quarter. The Buccaneers got the breaks and got the running game going, and apparently we'll get this one converted here with that 14-point lead with just 16 seconds left, I believe.
Awesome, Mike. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
Yeah, you got it.
31-17. My goodness, with the average day by Tom Brady, as you heard Mike Pepper lay out. Leonard Fournette leading the way with a $103 on the ground, 2 touchdowns as well. Buffalo trying to make this a football game and take the lead here as they saw Miami march down the field and go up 2017. So with 6 minutes left, they're trying to capitalize and push this thing in. It's going to be a 3rd and goal situation. And it's not technically over yet in Dallas as the Falcons are up 39-30. Now, for a while, I don't know when you got in, if you got in, but for a while, the Cowboys were 8.5 right around the end of the first quarter. So I don't know how many people took the Dallas Cowboys knowing that that run was going to come eventually. And now we see it 3 minutes left, down 9, too little, too late. But this is huge for anybody who has them less than 9 to cover this football game as far as what, +6 or 8 or even 8.5. But clearly, as the Bucs are going to go and get their first win, and Tom Brady, as you heard Mike Pepper lay out, wasn't a great day by any means, wasn't a brutal day, but it was enough to not lose the football game against a really bad Panthers team. As the Cowboys are going to do everything they can right now to try and get more points on the board, this game's going to go down as an L, just like the Philadelphia Eagles did, 37-19. And the Niners get their first win over a really bad Jets team. Titans move on to 2-0. Ryan Tannehill has to be the MVP of the league right now. He and Aaron Rodgers are going to fight for it. Jaguars are not a bad football team by any means. 33-30. I think that speaks more about Jacksonville's ability to get points on the board than just Ryan Tannehill dominating. I mean, Tannehill truly dominated. 4 TDs in the air. He was active on the ground as well. Derrick Henry didn't even need to do much, under 100 yards, but clearly it didn't matter. Now, again, the Jags came back and cut that lead down, initially down 13 heading into the fourth, but still, you saw the Titans do everything you can, and in this league, it's going to be crazy. And speaking of which, this beyond even what's happened in the NFC East and how bad this whole thing is, and Dak Prescott, Carson Wentz are regressing by the second here. Daniel Jones doesn't have anywhere near the amount of time to throw the football, and we're just waiting for the Washington football team to lose to the Arizona Cardinals today. This game is just underway, speaking of which, and we'll update you as Arizona pours on points. But beyond that, even a bigger picture today is everybody who went down, constantly looking at injuries all across the board, right? Where we saw guys go down with ankle injuries to upper body injuries. Everything we've seen here, from even concussions and head injuries. I mean, it's been insane. The level of contact to injury ratio that we saw today, where multiple players left, especially early on. Granted, this game is not technically over yet, but it looks as if the Steelers are going to run this thing out now. 1:30 left, and a huge run by James Conner, 59 yards from their own 31. Now listen to this. Steelers are up 26-21 with 1:30 left. James Conner just broke one open from his own 31 to the Denver 10. So it's 1st and 10. If they run a play, they could score. Now, they're running plays right now. Conner just picked up 4 yards on the ground. The point being is that they could easily just kneel this game and not score any more points. The spread closed at 7.5, upwards to 8, depending on where you got it. So think about what's happening right now. You may think, well, the Steelers, okay, they're on their way to a second consecutive victory. They eke one out despite Driscoll having to step in for Locke, and that's part of the issue where so many guys went down today across the board. We just saw a bunch of injuries, from big-name players to just battles of attrition where it was tough to keep up. Saw it with another Philadelphia Eagles lineman. Saw it multiple linemen with the Cowboys. It was just a frustration across the board, really all around the NFL today, where you saw injuries really dictate a lot, especially direction and tempo and some scoring in these games. Now, Bills have gone up 24-20. There's a lot of time left in this game, just under 6 minutes left. And it looks as if the Cardinals, right on the money, right as we spoke, Cardinals get a score. Who else? Wide open. You know, I'll never understand how DeAndre Hopkins can be wide open. It's one thing if there's one guy on him and he breaks free. But the Washington football team's defense didn't even have a soul next to him. There wasn't a living, breathing body next to him. So right away, with 9:09 left on the clock, the Cardinals are going to kick that extra point and go up 7-0. Meanwhile, Steelers, 4th and 7, and now they're going to kick a field goal. Unbelievable. This thing is not going to cover because the Steelers had that humongous run by James Conner. You see, this is why a game that's over 26-21 with 40 seconds left on the clock is never really over. Why anybody, oh, look at that. They kneeled out. Okay, perfect. 26-21 Broncos cover. I feel much better. Notice how that swings. Much better. Cowboys right now trying to move the football down the field. There was a big play that's under review. It looks like it's going to go back. So trailing 39-30 with 2:29 left. Also, a couple of games that went final. That Bucs game's final, 31-17. So Brady gets his first victory. Packers mentioned Aaron Rodgers. This is actually an average day for Aaron Rodgers. 240, 2 TDs. Aaron Jones was an absolute monster today. 168 on the ground, 2 touchdowns. If you started him, you also saw him catch 4 balls for 68 yards and a score. So 3 total touchdowns for Aaron Jones today. And that was the difference as the Packers double up the Lions 42-21. Bears and Giants go final. Amazingly, the Giants cover. This backdoor cover, unbelievable. Bears were laying the 4.5. Giants come back and score 13 straight points, 3 in the third quarter, 10 in the fourth. Meanwhile, Saquon Barkley, like, this is how bad it is for the Bears. Yes, they're 2-0, and you can't take anything away from them. But this is why, and injuries are always going to be the big factor. We'll come back to that as a big storyline in the second hour. It's just really difficult to keep an eye on what's going on, to bet what's going on, to take it from a fantasy standpoint as well. Just when you see so many bodies go down, way more than normal. And that has to do with no preseason. That has to do with COVID and how difficult it's been to practice and all. 17-3. The Bears can't score in the second half at all. They should be ashamed of themselves. Mitchell Trubisky can't lead a scoring drive against the New York Giants defense, while the Giants don't have not only their best weapon, but one of the top weapons coming out of the backfield in the entire league. How does that make any sense? How can you put any faith or trust into what the Bears have done? They're a paper champ waiting to get punched through. They have this hot quarter at the end of the Lions game last week in which they're able to put up 3 scores, and maybe people started to think, well, this team has something, some momentum, they can keep it going. They're up 17-0 at the half. No Saquon Barkley. Giants, you want to talk about a bad offensive line. Daniel Jones on his back or backpedaling every single play. And they outscore you 13-0. It's unfathomable that the Bears can't get any points on the board, win the football game, but that's one that you have to look at a little deeper. That's one, and they relied on Montgomery, who went down and missed some time as well due to injury, but that just goes to show you how truly bad of a team the New York Giants are and how bad that Bears team can be. They can really dip down to that level. Cowboys still trail 39-30 at the 2-minute mark. 2nd and 1 on the Atlanta 1. All right, we'll update you on that. The Bills game as well. Steelers-Broncos went final, as we said. Broncos cover. It's SportsMap Radio.
The second level.
And he just hit Diggs on like another 20-yard catch. Goodness gracious.
Who's that proposed?
Allen to Diggs. He is just
Make the 20
Diggs is eating that fucking Dolphins secondary alive.
ourselves. There's only one name who's really running the show here. Mike Krzyzewski. It ain't our buddy in UNC right now. It's not Big Roy down there.
He got 8 catches for 153 yards and a touchdown.
There are some coaches
that
you
you
would
just
point
ridiculous.
to. By the person right there at the top of that tree, right when you walk in, and you always see that in like the crime show where they have all the names up there, and it always leads up to the top person, the boss. The boss behind this has got to be Mike Krzyzewski. He's the godfather. Maybe that's a better way to put it, right? At the very least, Don Krzyzewski gave his blessing.
The second level with Eitan Shander, weekdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern.
Wake up call.
Winged Foot will be the home of the U.S. Open this year. By the way, this is one of the hardest U.S. Open courses. The rough is as thick
I'm
as
so
a
like,
can
I don't know what it
of
is.
iced tea. These
Everybody's
guys are gonna get
complaining about
really
shit in the air
frustrated
because of the
after-
fires, you know?
So-
Yeah.
That's in the rough for over a
So
foot
I'm like
long.
Yeah, well,
super
it depends. Get Jake Asman
congested.
to make sure he measures sure it's a foot long.
Wake up call with Tony D and Ron Culver, weekday mornings from 7 to 9 Eastern.
Pushing the odds with Matt Perrault.
All right, now we get to see how many points the Texans lose by. Ravens -7.5, disrespectful line.
Yeah,
We
I
stand
did
up,
take
talk
him, and I
about
think I
Embiid,
took him
and do
to the
whatever we
teaser.
can to affect the change.
Took him straight up.
Is that what the Bucks did to do anything that
That's
they can
not bad,
do to
though.
affect?
No,
We are back.
I understand football year to year, even game to game, very different. But the Texans, on both sides of the ball, ostensibly are a worse team than they were last year. The Ravens, arguably better on both sides of the ball, and they blew them out by 30 plus last year, and it could have been even worse.
Right.
I see no reason why that line shouldn't be double digits.
They look like us. So
Fair.
we are like, well, what can we do to,
I put the Bucks, Cardinals, and Seahawks in money line parlays.
And we can't.
Pushing the Odds with Matt Peralt.
Trying to think if I took
Weekday
anything
afternoons
else.
from 1 to 4 Eastern.
I have these two.
If
I have
business,
two apps
pleasure, or
going.
sports
Oh,
fandom
I had to
takes it
cut
Houston,
everything down
Dallas,
because I sign up
Austin,
on all
Fort
these to
Worth,
get
or
all
San
these free.
Antonio. Check out
Yeah,
to get the scoop on the local
DraftKings
favorites.
is, like,
From the
shut
best
down for
restaurants,
some shit.
bars, pubs, and clubs to the biggest sights and sounds each city has to offer, Culture Map has it all. Just head over to culturemap.com. The expert team personally.
Nothing like Bill O'Brien running first 2 plays, 3rd and 6. Oh, here we go.
For free Culture Map updates at culturemap.com.
Bro, this is huge for anybody who took the Cowboys.
The NFL Rush continues on the SportsMap Radio Network.
Powered by Rocket Mortgage.
Live from
Oh, they
the
scored.
O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios.
Unbelievable.
Here's Eitan Shander.
Cowboys get the score, so it's 39-36. It doesn't really matter at this point. They're going to, I guess, go for 2, go for 1. Does it really matter? Kick a field goal, and then you're going to win either way. So I imagine you just go for 2. Dak Prescott tucks it. 39-37. Here's why this is so big, though, is because at the end of the first quarter, and then throughout the second quarter as well, because at one point it was 20-0, and it was Cowboys plus 8.5 right there towards the end of the first quarter, especially as the first quarter came to an end. That's when I got in at plus 8.5. And then the Falcons, they put up 9, Cowboys get 10. So the line did not fluctuate by the half much at all. Depending on where you were getting it, you probably still had it at plus 8.5. That's a pretty big number that was consistent throughout the first half if you were live betting this game. So, again, just like we saw with the Steelers and Broncos, wind down, 5-point game. Why does that really matter what Ben Roethlisberger does on the Broncos 10? Because that thing closed at 7.5. That's why. So a lot of people took the Broncos to cover that football game, expecting Drew Lock to be in there, and he goes down with a shoulder injury right away. So Driscoll has to step in and play, and he wasn't terrible, but it's a backup quarterback who didn't have the benefit of reps all week, and he's Driscoll to Lock. It's not like this is Breeze to Hill. So with that said, this is a pretty big day for the Broncos who covered that football game, but the Steelers, who now moved to 2-0, survive a game in which they had very little body to work with on the offensive line. And when you look at injuries that happened either in game or last week that rolled over, this is pretty much going to be the theme moving forward. You know, this is pretty much going to be a pretty big, consistent theme moving forward. Now, our buddy Bipolar Legend here on Twitter at Shander Show, where, yes, I'm aware of the background. Not only do we have Carson, but I'm wearing the yellow shirt, so that means you can only see my face, and that's on purpose. Twitch.tv/Shander Show. It looks as if we've got a Justin Herbert sighting, right?
We do. Justin Herbert is officially starting for the Chargers.
Look at this. Now, I was ridiculed by our own in-house resident Chargers fan, Andrew Carlson, Ron Culver, who I have the pleasure of working with on a daily basis, Monday through Friday, 11 to 1 p.m. Eastern time on the second level here on Sports Map Radio. And he ridiculed me, harassed me on the radio for taking his team taking the Chargers at home plus 8.5.
Cowboys got the onside kick.
And they did. Wow, look at this. Cowboys get the onside kick. Thank you, because I was so focused up in that Ron bash. And look at this, amazing, with $1:49 left. The Dallas. Now, I'm not going to be able to do the rest of the show. If the Dallas Cowboys, fueled by a touchdown, one touchdown led by Andy Dalton, of all people, if the Dallas Cowboys successfully mount this comeback, the day in which the Philadelphia Eagles physically gave a football game up to the LA Rams, Carlson, I'll give you whatever it is on the check for today. You'll have to produce and host the show. I'm out. All right. I'm not going to be able to do anything. I'm serious. If the Cowboys I can't think of a day like that's the ultimate insult I can't think of a worse outcome outside, of course, of Dallas winning the Super Bowl. Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, at one point, Andy Dalton for a series. Are you kidding me? The Dallas Cowboys have no business being in this football game. Yet the Atlanta Falcons are such a terrible team, especially really on defense, because offense, they can put up points in fantasy mode, full-on rookie mode when it comes to their ability to just drop Matt Ryan down the field and throw it. But you can see their defense is just so bad. They're going to allow everybody in. This onside kick, as flukish as it may be, I'm talking about just the fact that they let the Cowboys back in this game up 20-0 after one, and it's not that they took their foot off the gas. The Falcons had no ability to stop Dallas. All they know how to do is just keep scoring, keep scoring, keep scoring. You figure that out once or twice, and then you can move on. Here's Dallas now. There's a lot of time left on the clock here. A field goal wins the football game, and Dak Prescott just moved his field. Unbelievable. I already am slipping up like I can't even talk. I'm telling you, this is my undoing today. You might see me walk off the stream at this point. I can't deal with this. The Cowboys. I already see Newy Scruggs down in Dallas getting his fingers ready to type at me. A day in which Carson Wentz looked absolutely atrocious. I've seen Carson Wentz look bad. This was the worst I've ever seen Carson Wentz play football. And that was the reason why Jared Goff looked like a Hall of Famer. Goff looked good. But then you compare him to how bad Carson Wentz looked in the same game, and the Rams right now at 2-0 are a legit football team. I mean, I set my bias aside for just a second here as we await what's going on with the Dallas Cowboys. We'll keep you up to date on that live as I see it and Andrew sees it. But outside of my own disgust and frustration with the football team in Philadelphia that deserves its 0-2 record as much as anybody is hanging in a record from 2-0, 1-1 to 0-2. They own that 0-2 record. Terrible play by their quarterback. As much as I can recognize that, as far as what we here watching it locally to you watching it via the Red Zone or in LA or anywhere else in which that was your game early on, you saw an LA Rams team that's no joke. They can move the football on the ground with two different running backs. Cooper Kupp is a problem. Robert Woods is arguably even better. It's just a matter of where the defense focuses. The Rams right now have reinvented themselves, and as much as Sean McVay gets dumped on and criticized, a lot of times rightfully so because it just seems to blow up, this is a bounce-back scenario for them this year. Starting 2-0 is no fluke. Whatever happens here with the Cowboys, if they can pull this thing out and salvage the first two games of their season, the Rams are a really good football team. And we're seeing this now, where some teams bounce back from a tough loss, like the Niners last week, got beat by a good Cardinals team, a young upstart Cardinals team that believes they can beat anybody in front of them, especially now with DeAndre Hopkins, who's already feasting right now. So the Niners come back. They take on the league's punching bag, which is the Jets. Nice to get a victory, and now things look back on track. Rams eke one out, but still, it was a low-scoring game. Not a lot of risks were even allowed based off of defense and tempo. So I can't credit what's not there. In this case, they took shots.
Cowboys win.
Unbelievable. So you're a little ahead of me. Thank you. So everybody who's listening right now, the Cowboys get this. The 46-yard field goal is good. Lance Zierlein, it's good. Greg Zierlein, right?
Yeah, Greg Zierlein.
Wrong Zierlein. Lance has to be on the Mount Rushmore Zierleins, right?
Oh, he's got to be up there. I mean, how many Zierleins are there? He's got to be top 4.
Well,
top
isn't
3.
there another Zierlein that's a kicker as well?
Is there?
I thought there was another famous Zierlein. Outside of Greg and Lance, there has to be another one. I think definitely Lance is up there on the Mount Rushmore, as is Greg after that kick. I can't get on social media. I already feel the tweets coming. Newy Scruggs is already working his fingers. I'm out. I'm out, Ancho. You're doing the show. I'm gone. I can't even fathom what a conversation is like in a world in which Dak wins and Carson loses this way. Brutal.
Going on,
Clear.
but
Oh.
gonna stay. How much will it
Oh my! I cannot believe that.
cost by booking on besthotelrates.com?
Disgusting.
Best
I thought for sure they were done after that.
This is
failed that two-point
disgusting.
conversion. Jerry
Cowboys
Jones is,
plus
like,
8.5. That
for the best
what's that?
prices.
Jerry Jones is like dying of excitement up in his little box.
And start shopping for your next hotel.
Took his mask off. He's clapping his hands vigorously.
Hotelrates.com.
Listen up, sports bettors. This is Phil Snyder here to tell you about one of my favorite sports books, and that's BetUS. Football, basketball, and baseball are all back, and that means it's time to get down your bets. I only tell you about the best, and BetUS.com is the best. Why, you ask?
Justin Herbert rushed up for a 4-yard touchdown to open the game against the Chiefs.
A sports book with integrity and longevity, and you need to know that you're going to get paid. You need a sports book that offers everything, including live betting, MMA, golf, horses, esports, and all kinds of crazy bets. Call today at 1-800-MY-BET-US. That's 1-800-MY-BET-US, and they'll walk you through getting started. Nobody in the industry gives bigger bonuses than BetUS. Join now. Mention Sports Map Radio, and you can get up to 150%.
I'm gonna bounce back with the Cowboys.
Okay.
Field goal if you're cool with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
The best bonuses, BetUS should be your sports book. Join today. Call 1-800-MY-BET-US or go to BetUS.com. Remember, mention SportsMap Radio to get your bonus.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discount.
20-point
Generic
deficit.
Sildenafil allows you to
8.5
save
covers.
$650 on Viagra. Why pay name brand prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get the same results for less than $3 a pill?
So this
Today,
was
get
the
50
teaser.
generic Sildenafil
Rams
pills for
plus 8,
only $99.
Texans plus
This can cost as
14,
much as
Patriots plus 10.5.
$750 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill.
Actually,
for the
wait,
name
there was
brand
another
again.
one.
Get generic Sildenafil for less than $3
Bucks
a
minus
pill.
2.5.
450-5582
Packers
today
to
and save
a
up to
pick'em,
$650.
and the Cowboys to
50
plus
pills
1.5.
for just $99. Generic Sildenafil is fast, easy,
That one hit.
and affordable. Operators are waiting to take your call now. Call 800-450-5582. That's 800-450-5582. Again, 800-450-5582.
You're going on a trip, but where are you going to
Can't believe
stay?
Bears minus
How much
10.5
will it
loss.
cost?
In game. Like
By
that's
booking on
as soon as Barkley went down the first time, I got in at minus 10.5. And then I saw him go down for good. I'm like, well, shit. How does that happen?
Wait, go to besthotelrates.com. Enter your
Man,
email
these two
address, and start
teasers
shopping
hit,
for your
bro.
next hotel room.
Titans, actually 3
It's in the
teasers.
name, besthotelrates.com.
Browns to a pick'em, Niners minus 1, Titans minus 3. Then the Cowboys, Packers, Bucks.
The NFL Rush continues on the SportsMap Radio Network.
Powered by Rocket Mortgage.
Live from the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios, here's Eitan Shander.
No timeouts. Good snap. Good hold. 46 yards. Yes, sir. Kiss that pig. The final score, Dallas 40, Atlanta 39.
That is the Cowboys Radio Network, correct, Andrew?
Yes, sir.
My goodness, that's how it sounds at the end. As the Cowboys pull off an improbable comeback again. I guess it's not improbable when you look at how bad the Falcons defense is. They were down 20, and they were able to close that gap and win the game. Onside kick. That was the big difference right there as far as how they could turn a 9-point deficit with 2 minutes left into a victory. They get on the board. They kick the extra point. They're down 2. They get the onside kick, and a big play moves down the field. And next thing you know, they're running it out just to get in perfect field goal position. That's it. Cowboys win. Huge day, huge performance by that team to come back after just allowing the Falcons to do anything they wanted. It looked really bad at first. And it was a huge victory for the Cowboys, let's be honest. I know there were a lot of people around the country that, not nearly as much as the Patriots, I get that, that were rooting for the Dallas Cowboys to lose that game, but that was a hell of a comeback right there. They were down 29-10 at the half, and they were able to methodically move down the field and really show what that offense can do. Dak Prescott was able to turn around a really slow and rough first half, even going out. Andy Dalton had to come in and secure a touchdown in that drive, but Prescott threw all over the place. And for somebody who was throwing the football 47 times for 450 yards, to not turn it over is really impressive. Now, Matt Ryan, you can argue, well, come on, the guy threw 36. He threw for 4 touchdowns, but it's never enough. It's never enough for the Falcons. Whatever Matt Ryan does, it's never enough no matter what happens. Now, granted, Julio Jones drops a touchdown in the end zone, so you could argue that could have been the difference maker right there. Fair enough. But bad teams suffer circumstance. Bad teams are victims of circumstance. Prescott was able to move the football around the field. Again, really developing chemistry with CeeDee Lamb. But on the flip side, even with another big day from Calvin Ridley, and you know that whenever Matt Ryan and this offense are going to be down or up, it doesn't matter. They're going to throw. Like they're not just going to stop and hand the football over to Gurley or anybody else for the rest of the game. They can't help themselves. The Falcons throwing the football. Have you ever heard those progressive, we have the progressive guest line. Andrew, have you ever heard those radio commercials with with Flo from Progressive, who it's basically like a game of radio chicken where they try and get her to talk about something else before she jumps in and says, drivers can save 15% on Progressive car insurance.
Yes, I'm very familiar with that.
All right, so that's what the Falcon. I just want to make sure. You're always my barometer here. So if you know what I'm talking about, then chances are other people do as well. And we play that on the local channel that I work for here in Philadelphia, so I know that well, and I know we have the Progressive guest line here. So the point of it being is that's what the Falcons are. Falcons, when it comes to throwing the football, no matter, they could be up by 30, and they can't help themselves. Speaking of which, Chargers up 7-0, 2nd and 5 right now, looking to move the football across midfield. Justin Herbert got the start, and the Chiefs came in laying 8.5. A lot of points to lay, but 8.5 on the road. But the Cowboys were really impressed. Ezekiel Elliott, again, when you're down so much, he's one of the few running backs that's still going to get some action despite being down 20-0 after 1 or 29-10 at the half. That's always going to be the case. Ezekiel is always going to be involved somehow, some way, and they're not just going to abandon the run. But Prescott made a couple of plays with his legs. I mean, he rushed for 3 touchdowns. Granted, some of them goal line situation, that's fine, but just goes to show you how active he was in this offense without turning the football over in the air. And for a guy who was just good, okay to good last week, not enough, not great, not top 5, not pay this man the money. Kyler Murray crosses the end zone, so pending the extra point, Cardinals going to be up 14-0 over Washington. They were a 7-point favorite, mind you, coming into this game at home. That was it. But Dak Prescott played like a guy who earns that money, like deserves that big check. That was a heck of a performance today for a guy in Dak who, yes, didn't have as many touchdowns as Matt Ryan did at the end of it, but outdueled Ryan, was the better quarterback on the field, was the better leader on the field, and clearly benefited from the defense more than Matt Ryan did. But that was a comeback victory, one that should definitely give a lot of momentum to Dallas moving forward. A lot of momentum. I mean, they definitely were able to turn this thing around 30-10. They outscored the Falcons in the second half. And that onside kick is just a representation of how everything was working in their favor. Every little thing, big to small, was working in their favor. These guys are jacked up. You can see Dak Prescott jumping up and down. running around, yelling, hugging everybody. Mike McCarthy really dodged a couple of bullets today. Cowboys lose this football game. The first and second questions to Mike McCarthy today are, why, sir? Why did you choose to go for it on fourth down in opposition territory? Why did you choose to go for it twice, fourth down, with plenty of time still left in this game? Fail as well, but why did you choose to go for it on fourth down twice in Falcons territory? That's probably the first, second, third, and then like the fourth guy steps up, fourth person steps up, asks, no, I'm not ready for my question. Can you just please answer the other questions? Why are you going for it on fourth down where you still could kick a field goal 2 times over, mind you? But for whatever reason, Mike McCarthy is just, he's out there, definitely out there, and I think he's going to take a ton of risks. And I wonder if that's just something that Jerry Jones is mandating to him. Go a little crazy. XFL this sucker up a little bit. Ham it up a little bit. Lamar Jackson leading the Ravens down the field right now. 3rd and 9. They're in Texans territory. Man, it is so difficult to bring this guy down. And it's so easy for him to bring the football down, make a couple of moves, and then immediately bring the football back up and throw it. Now, it was an incomplete pass to Mark Ingram, but it's just how effortless it is. Like, think about it, how difficult it is to get a hand on Lamar Jackson and how easy it is for Lamar to tuck the football, make a couple of moves on the ground, and then bring the ball right back up. Big stop for the Texans. Huge stop. Anytime you can keep that team to only scoring 3 points. Now, speaking of which, the Chiefs still trailing with the Chargers, but that was a huge stop by the Texans to only limit the Ravens to what looks to be 3 points right here. And the Ravens offense did not look great at all on those final couple of plays, and credit Houston for applying some pressure on there. 32-yard field goal attempt here. So if, in fact, you start to see a little momentum shift, then credit that stop right there. We'll see the Texans on offense again before the first quarter ends, but it's 3-0 with $1:14 left. 4:47 left in the first, and the Chargers up 7-0 with the football, pushing right now, still in their own territory, but technically midfield. Justin Herbert does not look bad. I don't know if anybody's played him in Madden, but they give him ridiculous wheels, ridiculous speed. There's just no way he's that fast in real life, but they give him some pretty high ratings on that. Chargers right now, remember, we're getting 8.5 coming into this football game. It's really early, but the Chiefs trying to at least stop the Chargers on this drive. So we'll keep an update on that. The Bills game has gone final. They survive in Miami. 31-28 is the final. Dolphins actually cover that game. But the Bills get a gigantic day. If you played Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs in any type of stack situation in your yearly or DFS, I'm sure you did pretty well. Hopefully you played somebody else to back that up, but those two guys alone probably got you a bunch of points. Allen threw for 417 and 4 touchdowns. Again, 31-28 the final. Bills win. Stephon Diggs, 8 grabs, 153 and a score. Absolutely outstanding performance. Fitzpatrick wasn't horrible in the loss. 2 touchdowns, went over 300 yards. But Josh Allen with yet again another outstanding fantasy performance. Also not bad in real life. Bills now 2-0 on the season. And just like you have to tip your hat to the Chicago Bears, who take advantage of circumstance here, all the Bills can do is beat who's in front of them. And they were a big favorite as soon as Tom Brady left, right through Cam Newton signing. They were a big favorite still to win this division. So at 2-0, a lot of people that looked at the Bills from either inside Buffalo or outside from a betting standpoint are feeling pretty good about that. 14-0. Cardinals up over Washington. And it doesn't look like Washington's going to be able to move the football much at all. Kyler Murray is single-handedly. They even turned the football over. Murray even threw an interception. It didn't matter. As the Cardinals are up 14-0 right now, and Murray is doing everything. Hopkins already has 4 catches, 26 yards. That's fine, but still that score. Murray has not only rushed for 1, he's thrown that one to Hopkins. It's ridiculous. Pull out the blanket here. The Washington football team is about to curl up, lights out. It's just a matter of time. This thing's going to get really ugly. And then the Ravens-Texans game again, Houston with the football back. So we'll keep an eye on that. The Chargers have now moved into Chiefs territory. So with 2:22 left in the first quarter, it's 2nd and 10 on the Chiefs 39. Herbert with about 87 yards. And this Chargers team does not look as bad and as lifeless as we've seen them in years prior. They definitely have a new feel around them, and there's a level of confidence with Herbert coming in. Not that Tyrod Taylor was brutal or any means. They beat the Bengals last week. But Chargers are moving the football at least a little bit. And with that big line coming into it, anything you can get right now, especially early on, is going to help. At Shander Show, twitch.tv/Shander Show. We'll wrap the first hour here, the NFL Rush, with me next.
Wake up! Man, he sounded great. I love that.
All right, man. All right, man.
How Vegemite tastes.
Now I need.
He wants to come on again. He enjoys it. Next time he comes on, we got to come up with more Aussie questions.
I should ask.
I've got Kyler Murray's rushing touchdown highlight if you want me to.
Yeah, that would be great.
Do you drink Foster's Lager for breakfast?
Well, no. Let's not go that far.
Well, come on. Why
well,
not?
maybe Foster's Junior Cheerios.
Right? Wasn't that Australian for beer commercial? Remember that?
NFL
Foster's Lager. It's Australian.
What's on
beer.
my local
But
channel?
as we all know, Australians do not drink Foster's.
They don't?
No.
I didn't know that.
No.
You say that as if that's common knowledge.
That is
I
common
didn't
knowledge.
know that.
Everyone knows
Ravens,
that.
Texans.
Does everybody know
Here we
that?
go.
Foster's, I believe, is.
Boy, I got Bryson yesterday with that.
Stop. Why
I'm
did you
looking
just
at it
say,
here.
like,
Bryson
Guinness is made
Boost.
in Montana.
8:03 p.m. So that's September 9th. That's last night, right?
Yeah.
It's not.
And they offered a 30% profit boost on the day.
Yeah.
So it didn't move them a ton. It moved them from 225 to 292.
This season, players,
But-
it is not about the money.
Everything's about money in Tuscaloosa. I guarantee you that.
I mean, this is insane that 2 guys are under par. Now we're only doing NFL, right?
So you can.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you can throw an update in here.
It's even better.
Pharrell coast to coast.
You
with
sure?
Scott Pharrell.
I mean, it is NFL Rush, but I mean, it's the fucking U.S. Open. Like, just a little score update at the top, or at the top of the hour, something like that, isn't going to kill people.
Okay.
The league is right now after LeBron James leaves.
If I get an
the
email from
players
Craig,
who
I'm
will be
blaming you.
left-
I'm just kidding. I'd always take the hit.
You've got Jamal Murray, who is just 20.
I mean, Biggs gave an update on there's a
Oh, are you working with Biggs?
You have done.
yeah.
Say what's
Who's
up to
just
him for me,
23
man.
years
Next
of-
time you talk to him.
Absolutely.
He's a good
Brown,
dude.
No, really good guy.
Yeah,
Tatum,
he's a
who
good
are
name.
under
I'm glad we got him
23.
on.
Yeah.
How many young
Man, I had Hovland
superstars,
and
budding
Xander
superstars in the NBA
in
right
top
now?
20s. I think that was it. Yeah,
stars,
because
right?
then it was
But
Patrick.
everyone was
Who's,
nervous and
those
worried
guys got
after Michael Jordan
bombed.
left, like who was going to carry the mantle, and we saw what happened after that. Now everyone's so worried that when LeBron James is
So
done,
this guy,
who's going to carry the
Shugo
mantle?
Imahara.
Well, I mean, the league is in really good
Imahara.
shape with some
Shugo
really, really
Imahara
good players and some very talented.
shot a 25 over. He shot 12 over today.
Texans just turned it over on their own fucking 34.
It's time to start looking.
4th and 1.
4th and 1, they went for it.
Yeah, I'm watching it.
to
God,
see the
are you
latest
that
auto
far ahead of
news,
me?
Find out about what's ahead for your favorite brands.
What's
I might
going
be
on
on
here?
the local CBS channel here.
Maybe that could
App.com is
definitely
your
be
place
it.
to see reviews, check out the hottest exotic cars, read tales from the road, and get acquainted with the luxury automotive lifestyle.
Unbelievable.
Into hot
They
mods,
turn it
want
over
to
on
see the
down.
cars celebrities drive. Love a good race.
And that's how the Ravens cover that 7.5 line. Shit like that right there.
Has it covered.
I
Visit
told you I teased him up to
automotiveapp.com
14.
I feel better about that, but man.
No, trust me. I mean, I need the Texans at 14 and the Patriots at 10.5 in order for
You're
that to come
listening
through.
the
So
NFL Rush on the SportsMap Radio Network.
Powered by Rocket Mortgage.
Live from the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios, here's Eitan Shander.
Murray is lined up in shotgun with 1 second left. They do run a play. They snap it to him. Murray keeping it, running to the right. He's to the 5, cuts to the left, and hits pay dirt. Kyler Murray with a touchdown run from 14 yards out. And the Cardinals, with no time left in the first quarter, get another touchdown.
Cardinals call right there as Kyler Murray, outside of the one interception, Kyler Murray has looked really comfortable, even with a ton of pressure that comes from the Washington pass rush. Kyler Murray has settled in and looked truly comfortable, being able to work the football down the field, move the football with his legs, and, of course, incorporate DeAndre Hopkins. They've got a big 3rd and 21 right now. Early in the second quarter, they lead 14-0 over Washington. So we'll see if, in fact, they can convert this and move the ball down the field. Chiefs have the ball now. It looked like the Chargers went for it on 4th and 5 on the Chiefs' 34. They did not trust their kicker, so instead they asked their rookie quarterback. Boy, that's a tough situation, huh? I mean, I get it. Like, Anthony Lynn is not in an envious situation by any means. But what the hell is that? You really don't trust your kicker to the point where a 51-yard kick is out of the question, but asking your rookie quarterback making his first ever start to go for it on 4th and 5 against the defending world champions, it's a big ask. Again, it was 5 yards. So I can't truly be upset to the point where that was a terrible call. It looked like the call actually was okay. It was just a bad execution on the play. But I think it just speaks volumes to the situation the Chargers are in. They're trying to hold Kansas City right now as the Chiefs have not exploded by any means. Ravens and Texans, this thing flew by. That first quarter flew by. 3-0 Baltimore. Again, they came in as a 7.5-point favorite, right, Andrew? Was it 7 or 7.5?
I got the line. I got the line at
7.5. Cardinals kick a field goal, mind you. They're up 17-0. That was a 7-point game, at least when I got in on it last night. And they're up 17-0 with 11:35. So we'll update you on everything that's still going on currently. Couple of the big storylines from week 2, the 1 o'clock games, 1 o'clock Eastern games. And when we come back, we have to give you a small, quick little update on one big name that's doing something in sports just outside the NFL. It's a little blip on the radar, but it's worth a mention. All right, brother.
You got it.
I'll be right back.
Sounds good.
Wake up call.
The Jake Asman Show.
I never want to hear about the salary cap in the NFL again. If the Rams could afford to pay the most amount of money to a defensive player in Aaron Donald and the most amount of money to any secondary player in the history of the NFL and Jalen Ramsey, like, I don't want to hear about the cap. The salary cap is it's like the Subway $5 footlong. It's just a figment of your imagination. If you need to make it work in the NFL salary cap wise, you can make it work. If you're Subway and you want to lie to everyone for over a decade about the $5 footlong, apparently you can do that without any consequence. The salary cap is a figment of your imagination in the NFL, just as the Subway $5 footlong is a figment of your imagination. It's not real. It's fake. The salary cap's monopoly money. The Subway $5 footlong is a hoax. I think I've gotten to the bottom of it. Anytime I can take a dig at Subway, I got it. My campaign against Subway.
The Jake Asman Show, weekday mornings from 9 to 11 Eastern.
Pharrell.
Coast to coast. Marcus Morris slapping around your star player and nobody does anything about it. If I were on that team, I would have kicked someone's kneecap in and I would have been suspended for a year in the NBA. And not one guy on the team did anything about it. If Bill Laimbeer or Rick Mahorn, you did that to one of the Isaiah Thomas, you would have been in a body bag.
Pharrell Coast to Coast with Scott Pharrell. Weekdays from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern.
Wake up call. Starting with the Arizona Cardinals hosting the Washington Redskins. Oh, come on. Dwayne Haskins. Kyle Murray. Come on.
No, you were wrong there.
Why?
The Washington football team.
Did I say Redskins?
You did.
I should find myself a dollar every time I do it this season.
That's $1 in the old
so I'm
R
going to
jar.
put that in the R jar at the house, and at the end of the season, I'll see how much I have.
Probably would pay for your fantasy football league.
You're
fees.
probably right, because I'm not going to win this year. Because my number one pick, Michael Thomas, has an ankle injury that's probably going to plague him all year.
Probably.
Remember when we talked about Kevin Durant in basketball? We were like, when is he coming back from that? It's going to be like that. Michael Thomas is just going to be out every game, but every week you're going to be like, he could come back. He's looking better. And then Sunday, he's not playing. It'll be like that for 9 straight weeks. All right, so $1 is in the R jar because I mentioned Redskins.
Wake up call with Tony V and Ron Culver. Weekday mornings from 7 to 9 Eastern.
Imagine learning about radio and being mentored by true radio professionals in real radio stations. Well, actually, you don't have to imagine, because there's Radio Connection. Radio Connection gives you the opportunity to learn one-on-one and be mentored by radio pros. Plus, you don't have to worry about getting into a crazy amount of debt with school tuition either. Radio Connection keeps their tuition at much lower cost.
Sorry,
to find out more info, visit .com.
You there?
Imagine learning about and being mentored by true radio professionals in real radio stations. Well, actually, you don't have to imagine, because there's Radio Connection. Radio Connection gives you the opportunity to learn one-on-one and be mentored by radio pros.
Wonder what this
you
live
don't have to
Cardinals
worry
line is gonna
about
be like.
getting into a crazy amount of debt with school tuition either. Radio Connection.
Come on,
keeps their
Bryson.
tuition
I
at
mean,
much
there's no way he
lower
loses
cost.
this fucking
To
thing,
find
is it?
out more info. .com.
Matthew Wolf is the only guy that really.
German lower league side SG Ripdorf Mulzen 2 suffered a 37-0 defeat on Sunday after only fielding 7 players in a bid to maintain social distancing against their opponents as they feared contracting the coronavirus. So, I don't know here. I mean, what about the 7 guys who were thrown out there? Right? Is that just by lotto? How do you determine that? They threw 7 guys out there on the pitch, and they got pounded into the ground 37-0. The Clippers didn't even lose that bad. Why wouldn't you just not play the match? Wouldn't that be the best thing to do? If you're going to take the L, you know you're not going to win with only 7 guys out there anyway. So what statement are you making here?
The second level with Eitan Shander. Weekdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern.
Headed to Texas to
Do
watch
you
your team
have,
play, but don't know where to go for that pregame drink? Visit CultureMap.com
Matthew
for all
Wolf.
of the hottest spots in Houston, Austin, Dallas, Fort Worth, and San Antonio.
Sorry, what was that? I stepped away for a second.
No, you're
Favorite
good.
Dine and Gems.
I was kind of
Culture
talking to
Map
myself
has it
too.
all. Then before you leave town,
Victor
why not
Hovland,
visit some of the
jeez.
best
3
places to
over
shop
today.
or
This
see
course-
some of the sites. Culture Map has extensive coverage on
This course
all
is
the things to do
absolutely
in the city
ridiculous.
you're in. So check out CultureMap.com. That's CultureMap.com.
One of the big changes we're all dealing with is wearing a mask, but not all offer the same comfort and protection. I recommend the Boomer Naturals 3-layer comfortable, breathable mask.
My God,
enhanced with
he's got a
nano-silver
4-stroke
technology.
lead
Nano-silver can block those tiny drops and
with
particles
4
from
left.
getting to
I
your
mean,
They also offer those popular nano-silver neck gaiters.
not many
available
people
in
shot
sizes for
under par
adults and
today.
children, and are in stock now and shipped to you fast.
He's the only guy who
Order
shot under
now
par
at Boomer
today.
Naturals.
Yeah.
Code Scott and save 20%. That's
I
code
mean, that's
Scott
really-
at boomernaturals.com.
Wow.
Football, baby.
The Sports Map Radio Network presents the NFL Rush. How did this gonna be good?
Powered by Rocket Mortgage.
Live from the
16 and a half for the
Studios,
Cardinals.
Here's Eitan Shander.
3 games going on right now. Chargers and Chiefs with 14 left in the second quarter. Chargers came in an 8.5-point home dog. They lead 7-0 right now. They're +6 live. Texans and Ravens. Baltimore's up 10-0. They were up 3-0 after one, but Houston unable to really move the football down the field, and the Ravens up 10-0. But here comes Houston. So with about 12 or so left, Houston with the football, but they trail 10-0. That line bumped up to 13 right now. I would think that there is an opportunity to jump in live on the Houston Texans. I'm sure there are people in Houston listening right now, including maybe Andrew Carlson, who is yelling out, no, don't do it. I didn't pull the trigger. I'm just saying 13 points seems like a lot, even as they move the football down the field. Speaking of a lot, the Cardinals up 17-0 right now against the Washington football team with 6:28 left in the second. That line has moved from 16.5 to 17.5 since the opening of this short segment to right now. So in 90 seconds, it's moved a point. Now would be the time to jump in fact, for the Cardinals, because I do think this thing gets even worse. Wow. Just a quick little aside here, as it looks like it's pretty much going to be official, at least by the time we get off the air. But Bryson DeChambeau is going to win the U.S. Open. The only guy who shot under par today across the board at Winged Foot. This goes down as one of the most impressive majors that anybody has won in a long time in that sport, and hopefully gets recognized as such. We'll keep you up to date on what's happening with these three football games, a couple of big stories from the early games, but should not go unnoticed by any means what Bryson was able to do today. 6 under. There's only one other guy across the board who is under par, and that's Matthew Wolff, who's 4 off, and nobody else shot under par today but Bryson. Ridiculous. Almost as ridiculous as what the Philadelphia Eagles game plan was, or the comeback that the Dallas Cowboys mounted. Packers with a big win as well. We'll cover it all next.
Hi, I'm Frank Thomas, the Big Hurt.
What do you think, man?
After
Jump
I left
in?
Baseball, I just
At 13? Yeah, I would do it.
turns out once you hit 40, your body has
That's
less.
so much more palatable than the 7.5 it was at.
So I got back
I think they lose by like 10 or so, but I like 13 a lot.
I could even see a push at
You wanna get
13,
back in
right?
shape?
Agreed, yeah.
Boy, 17.5 seems now it's up to 20. Damn it.
Frank's right. Just
I
text
knew I
Maine
missed out
to
on that.
321-321 to get a complimentary
Not the
bottle of
Texans Cardinals. I
award-winning
mean,
Nugenix,
the
number
Texans
one
game, the
selling for
Cardinals game.
testosterone.
Yeah.
Its unique man-boosting formula is powered by Testofen, a patented key ingredient clinically researched to help a man feel stronger, leaner, more energetic, and more passionate.
And guys, she'll like the difference too.
Nugenix samples are not available in stores. To get your complimentary bottle, text MAIN to 321-321. That's MAIN to 321-321.
I owe the
Sports
IRS
betting?
$10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house. The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I got to see how bad it is. Have you checked the
Tax Solutions now, and a great big weight was lifted
I'm going
off
up
my
against my
shoulders.
brother-in-law in
I
this
call
league.
Tax
He's the listener. He's
They got the
crushing me.
IRS.
Crushing me. Because once again, Saquon Barkley gave me absolutely
Tax
squat.
Solutions now. You help. Our agents know.
I'm projected to beat Peralt by 50, so.
My
Connect
goodness.
you with a team of
He had a
former
pretty good.
IRS
So he has
agents and
DeAndre
tax
Hopkins. He
professionals
still
who
needs
will get the
Lockett tonight.
IRS off your
Wow, he had
back.
Higbee today. I sat here next to him at the draft and told him to take Higbee. I was like, no, that's your. He's actually got a couple of guys still to play. Let's see. Marvin Jones didn't give me anything. Evan Ingram gave me nothing. Deshaun Jackson gave me nothing. T.Y. Hilton gave me less. Devin Singletary, nothing. 2.8 points from Saquon Barkley. That's killing me.
Yeah. But a careless driver.
I did leave Leonard Fournette on the bench, as I did Hayden Hurst. Oh, left. My God. I mean, what was I supposed to do? Start Leonard Fournette over Devin Singletary?
Our attorneys fight and beat
Wow.
big insurance every day.
You jumped in on that Texans 13 and a half?
I did, sir.
Okay, well, they're on the red zone right now.
Injured in an automobile accident in the last 6 months. You owe it to
DraftKings
yourself
here
to
has a
have this free call
25%
with no obligation. We're
profit
available
boost
24/7
on any Week
to help
2
you get the
game.
money you deserve
So
in Insufferate.
it's great
Auto
because you don't need to
accident
bet
help
anything ahead of
stops
time. You
and
can just
victims
live
like
bet.
you.
So I got that 25% on that 13.
528-6859. That's 800.
We'll see. It's down to 10 now. Chargers game, man. Jeez.
Touchdown Texans.
Love it. Cootie.
The NFL rush continues on the Sports Map Radio
How much
Network.
longer is he
Powered
on
by Rocket
under contract
Mortgage.
for?
Live from the over.
Another year or two.
Here's Eitan Shannon.
As we speak, Texans on the board awaiting the extra point. No, it went to Fells. What am I talking about? Watson to Fells. That's the right? Or was Cootie who scored?
It was Fells.
Okay. See, I'm looking at my game tracker and it's not caught up to the actual television, which now caught up. So 10-yard reception by Fells as the Texans up on the board, pending the extra point. It's a 10-7 football game. And we told you right as the short opener came to a close, as we were marveling at the day that Bryson had, Texans were plus 13, and that was the time to jump in. Chiefs, mind you, and I just don't think that we should be surprised, but the Chiefs have finally cracked deep into Chargers territory here, as it's 1st and 10 on the Chargers 14. They trail 7-0. Justin Herbert got the start, has moved the football up and down the field a little bit. There was a crucial 4th down in which they tried to go for it on the Chiefs 34. They could not get it. Chiefs have in turn now moved the ball down the field, and it's taken a little bit of time off the clock, but they don't look like they're having any issues. Starting to. They have yet to, but starting to at least come out of their little slumber. And it was expected because they had a humongous win Thursday night to open up the NFL season. Everything about the Super Bowl rings, and it was the start of just a ridiculous season to be based off of the unique offseason that everybody went through. And it was just a much-needed victory for anybody playing then, and it was frustrating for the Texans, I know, to be victim of that, but the Chiefs were going to roll over anybody. And that was just the way in which they were going to come into the season. But in between the opening of the season with the Texans and then week 3, the Baltimore Ravens on the road, of course, it would be understandable for the Chiefs to look at this Chargers team like, we can just show up. Now, just showing up doesn't mean they're going to get shut out, as they just put one over the end zone. Another score here in the game. This one, Mahomes to Kelsey for 10 yards. So first one by the Chiefs, and that's going to even it up at 7. 9:45 left in the second quarter. Texans kicking off to the Ravens, who are up 10-7 over Houston. There's 3:31 left in the second quarter right now, and the Cardinals are destroying the Washington football team 17-0. Now, Kyler Murray is moving the ball down the field, but it looks like they have a pretty big one right now, 2nd and 31 on their own 15. So we'll see if, in fact, they can move it. Live line on this game is 23.5 right now. Definitely feel better about that 13, as the live line for the Ravens-Texans game has dropped to 8.5. It's 23.5 now, 23. It's 23 right now for the Cardinals-Washington game. You know, that's not even that crazy. It really isn't. I don't even think, normally when you see something this big, you're all over the dog, right? How often would you see an NFL score like that, line specific, where it's 17-0 and you're getting an extra 6 points there? Oh, and by the way, Cardinals just convert. Huge penalty right there. So they're moving the football down the field with ease. It's now on the Washington 20. It went from one side of the field to the other in a split second. That's how fast this thing is moving for Arizona. still, you can drop this line as low as you'd like, and I don't think Washington is getting more than 7 points. Maybe they can put together 3 field goals and get 9. But they'll go into the half right now unable to score, and instead Arizona, and there's a TV timeout with 1:57 left. It's 3rd and 16 from the Washington 20. So take it as you like right now. 3rd and 17. Look at this from just a live perspective here, right? And the Ravens are moving the ball down the field. Just Lamar Jackson is going to get the ball out so fast. It's going to make it so difficult for Houston to get to him, especially when he starts moving. 1:57 left in the first half. The Cardinals right now are up 17-0. We know that. There is no real shot at converting on the first. Even at 3rd and 16 from the Washington 20, you can get Washington at 21.5. So they give up the field goal, and you still have them at plus 1.5 here. Way too much of a risk. Way too much. What are you banking this on? That Dwayne Haskins all of a sudden is going to be able to move the football down the field? That Arizona is going to let up? That's what I love about the Cardinals. This is the last team in the NFL that's going to let up with anything. By the way, the extra point, no good for the Chiefs. 7-6 in this low-scoring affair right now, as the Chargers are going to get the football back, up a point, and we'll see if, in fact, this thing comes back to haunt Kansas City, that miss, especially when we're talking about covering those 8.5 points that they had to walking into this football game. Baltimore moving. Every time I look over, there's a first down for the Ravens. Every single time I look, it's coming either on the ground or through Lamar Jackson's hand. But every single time, the Baltimore Ravens are moving the ball down the field. And it might come in a chunk. It might just come in a quick run by Ingram. But it's 1st and 10 as they're at the midfield point right now with about 8:43 left. See if, in fact, the Chargers can actually get something now off of that, maybe respond with a field goal, put some more pressure on Kansas City. 3rd and 16, still waiting here for the end of the 2-minute warning and see if, in fact, the Cardinals can convert this. But I still think, and again, it's mainly because Washington's offense is so bad, even with McLaurin, who has had a decent first half. We know that he's going to be a deep threat, and they're going to try and get him in position of open space where he can yak the hell out of a football. But still, that is way too much, and the only thing, mind you, but still way too much to count on in order to get some points out of here from Washington. Even a broken play by Washington is too much. Lamar Jackson is just moving around, floating around the pocket, and even when a great play by the Texans, mind you, but that's going to be as good as it gets, where they flush Lamar Jackson out of the pocket, big toss away right there out of it. He's able to get rid of it, and that's a good stop. Like that, when you're going up against this offense with that quarterback, that's a good stop right there. 4th and 10, so they're going to kick the field goal here, and it's still dropped to 21. Just keep an eye on that line. All right, that's all I'm asking. Keep an eye on that Cardinals-Washington football team line. I think even at 21, depending on where you are and how much you'll have to lay, if it's 110 or 115, but even at 21, I think you're in good shape. Honestly, Ravens just moving right now on a huge 3rd and 9. Jackson to Brown, the connection right there, and that's going to put even more pressure on Houston. You had a chance to get that offense off the field. Instead, Lamar Jackson with plenty of time, good throw to Brown, little hop to make the catch, but nobody around him until he catches the football, of course. But that was a huge 3rd down conversion to put him in field goal position. 1st down, of course, so we'll see if, in fact, they can continue to move the ball. But even still, that changes a lot right there. Where if Houston had that stop, forced the punt, Now all of a sudden you're in position, as we know, it's in Houston, you're in position to change a lot of the momentum, taking some clock off as well as getting some points on the board. Instead, now you have to worry about Baltimore getting at least 3 on here. That would be a big stop. 3rd and 7 right now, and Houston's 21. It would be a big stop right here if the Ravens don't get this first down and have to settle for the field goal. Speaking of which, we just saw that convert now. So the field goal is good, and it's 20-0 right now, Arizona over Washington. Under 2 to go, 1:40 on the clock, and Arizona's live at 21.5. Oof. Not enough, I think, for Washington even. Down 20 right now, plus 21.5 on the live bet. Still not enough. What is interesting, though, is that total has dipped to 43.5. Now, think about this. The Cardinals are not going to pull up by any means. They're going to continue to run the football. They're going to continue to have their starters out there, even if it's 27 or 33, something like that, to 3 or 6. You're still going to see the Arizona Cardinals play their starters out there into the fourth quarter at least. So this isn't about how much Washington can score. It's how much Arizona can score. 20 at the half, assuming that Washington's not going to give them another chance to score here. But 20 at the half, can you get 3 scores? Can you get 20 more from Arizona in the second half? Because I think 6 is realistic by Washington overall. 6. If it comes with a field goal and missed extra point, if it comes with, a touchdown and missed extra point, or 2 field goals, whatever it is, that's fine. Field goal is good by Tucker, mind you. So, yes, they're only down 6, but that's a big stop right there for the Texans defense. They had an opportunity to get them off the field early on, and I understand from a bigger sense of frustration. Mind you, speaking of which, the Chiefs thought they had the Chargers off the field on a 4th and 1, but the LA Chargers convert, so it's 1st and 10 right now. Chargers with the football up 7-6. Now, after that Herbert pass to Eckler for 22 yards, it's 1st and 10 on the Chiefs' 26. Chargers knocking on the door, up 7-6 early in this game still with 5:52 left in the second quarter. But remember, Chiefs a heavy favorite coming in right now, and they have Baltimore next week. Ravens up 13-7. It was 3rd and 9 in which the Texans, with the stop, would have forced a punt. Instead, Ravens convert that, but can't get anything more after driving into Texans territory. So they settle for the field goal. Big stop by the Texans. They miss one, but they get the second. And now 13-7 with 5:35 left. Time is running out in the first half. Thank goodness, as this game can't end soon enough. Cardinals up 20-0 over Washington. 45 seconds left. Unbelievable how fast this game's going to move. But keep an eye on it. All right, we'll update you on all the early scores. A big comeback for the Cowboys. Who's 2-0 right now after the early action next on the NFL Rush?
Wait. Clear.
Derek Carr.
You're right. That was a huge stop, man.
Picked off at
Derek Carr.
Just not giving up 7 every time the Ravens.
Yeah, man, we needed that. You and I both
I can
needed
see
that.
him going, Derek, now you got to pick other names besides my wife. I got to be honest with you. She's not a huge fan of being on it. And I'm not really either, but it'd be better if you just didn't mention her name. But what if Derek Carr goes, it was the ultimate compliment? I was calling a hot route and your wife is hot.
Would you want Derek Carr, who's a good-looking man, be calling your wife out for being hot?
Yeah, man,
And
that's-
not only that, but in the same
Wild.
context of Tiger Woods. Okay, you called a hot route. What's Tiger Woods mean?
True. Good point. That combination doesn't work. No. If I was Gruden, I wouldn't mind mentioning the wife, but not in the same sentence as Tiger Woods.
Wake Up Call with Tony D and Ron Culver. Weekday mornings from 7 to 9 Eastern.
Coast to coast.
Stop with the Jeff Van Gundy for the 1,000th time getting every job that's open in the NBA for the last 15 years. The guy's got the cushiest job in television. If he comes back after what has it been, 20 years to coach, up, keel over. I mean, he's been offered every job in America. He's been offered the White House, and he turned that down too.
Pharrell Coast to Coast with Scott Pharrell. Weekdays from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern.
Where are jobs in radio given out? They're not given out on a college campus. No, they're given out in the real world at real radio stations. And to get a job, you need to know people. That's where Radio Connection comes in. Most schools train you on campus. Radio Connection gives you the opportunity to learn from professional mentors in real radio stations. They've put their private classrooms in these places so you can apprentice under professionals. And as you learn, you're making connections and gaining access to the people that are doing the hiring. This is not the promise of a job, no, but it is a promise to get you as close to the action and opportunities as possible. If COVID is a concern, no problem. You can learn from a radio professional via remote learning tools as well. This is education.
Wow, unbelievable,
reimagined
man.
To keep you out of debt as you learn.
How does he
in
fumble that
real-world
football?
settings. Interested? Visit
Jeez.
radioconnection.com for more information.
Oh, my God.
This is so fucking Texans.
Wake up call. I don't know if it's the most Metsian thing ever,
but it's close.
Yeah, he definitely took 3 steps, huh?
List.
I still say batting out of order.
Wow, wow.
Years, and I
Meanwhile,
feel like
Eckler is
we could
just
write a book,
mowing
right?
people
All the
down.
That's why
we talked about on this.
I didn't think
program.
Eckler had that much strength to him.
Not for what Brody said.
You see those shirtless?
No, I didn't see any shirtless stuff. No.
Dude looks like a muscle hamster.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I mean, I knew he was tough, that he could catch a lot of balls and, you know, not like some frail little dude, but I didn't realize he could bowl over you.
You're listening to the NFL Rush on the SportsMap Radio Network.
Powered by Rocket
What's that?
Mortgage.
Live from the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios, here's Eitan Shan.
So the Chargers right now have a goal situation, but it looks like the Ravens do as well. Now, that fumble is under review, but the Texans got the ball back. We just made this huge deal out of the Houston Texans stopping the Baltimore Ravens. First time they missed it on a crucial 3rd and 9. They couldn't get the Ravens off the field, so Baltimore then connects. It's Jackson to Brown into field goal territory. But then the Texans D stops them, and Baltimore settles for the field goal. So you think, okay, well, there's a chance right there to swing some momentum back. Instead, what was either the first or second play on the ensuing drive, Deshaun Watson drops back, completes it to Kiki Kute, and instead of any type of gain, it was negated by a fumble. And it looks like that thing's going to stand, but it's under review. If it does stand, then the Ravens are going to have 1st and 1 on Houston's 1. And all of that talk about stopping Baltimore and all of that discussion about how much that changes and shifts is out the window, because the Texans just could not capitalize. It took 2 plays for that thing to just fall apart. Unbelievable.
Welcome to Texans football, Eitan.
So, what am I doing listening to you betting a team like the Houston Texans?
Hey, look, I had the Ravens minus 7.5. I thought plus 13 was safe, but apparently not.
Nothing is safe with this Texans team, apparently. I can't believe that they actually dropped that. And then, of course, here's the touchdown, right? So it's now 19-7 pending the extra point. Whew. That was a major shift right there. Major shift. How do you go from 13-7 to 20-7 in a span of 8 seconds on the clock? Think about how that momentum is going to shift. Now, the Texans have the ball back with plenty of time, so especially with that 13 in action. But just looking at it from what they have to do, you have plenty of time, a lot of time right now to move the football down the field. Justin Herbert's first touchdown as an NFL quarterback, 14 yards out to Guyton, and that extra point is good. So it's 14-6 right now with 2:30 left in the second quarter as the Chiefs trail. Chiefs trail to the 1-0 Chargers 14-6. But as frustrating as that drive, that series was, really the last two possessions by the Ravens, truly maddening if you're the Texans, because you cough it up and you see a touchdown immediately follow. So now you have to come back and you just have to get something. 5:16 left in the second quarter. Inexcusable if you can't move the football down the field. There is no clock working against you right now. You can take your time. You can work any type of run game as well, although they really haven't been able to do that. Don't treat this like you have to drop back and throw the football 3 straight times deep down the field. That would be almost as catastrophic as what we just saw, because you don't have any points attached to it, but you would just feed into that lack of momentum and shift, mind you, as well. Deadly right there. Boy, I can't believe that we're still not at the half. I don't know what's taking so long, but the Cardinals have it 1st and 10 on their own 20 because Washington is so inept on offense that they couldn't even run the first half out. Brutal. But here we are. I mean, such is life with the Washington football team. They are so bad right now. Again, 25 seconds left. Just end this misery. Move to the half so we can get back. It's going to be, 15 minutes or so of real time before we can get to the second half, and then just watch the Cardinals run this thing out. Run it out for 30 minutes, but just please, why is this thing taking so long? We'll see if, in fact, the Texans can, and right away, they run Johnson for 5 yards, first play. I like it. Just treat this like you have time right now. Don't truly rush anything out. And I think if you're Houston, you have to focus on moving the football and taking advantage of what Baltimore gives you. And even if it's settling for a field goal in this drive, you've bounced back with something. You've helped to balance out something. Chargers right now, it's a big 3rd and 3 for Houston on their own 32. Still 4:52 left in the second. So a lot of time here. And they did that. They ran Johnson twice to get those 7 yards. So clearly Bill O'Brien, clearly this offense understands that there isn't as much pressure with 2:30 or 1:30 left. 2:30 is actually what's left on the clock here as the Chiefs have the football. Now, this is where it becomes a little interesting for Kansas City, who has been flat minus that one touchdown drive that culminated with Mahomes to Kelsey for the score. But they're in clear 2-minute mode right now. Huge conversion by Houston right there to get the first down. And again, the clock rolls under 4 minutes. This is exactly what you want if you're the Texans. You know, if you want to take a shot, go ahead. Doesn't mean you can't. But this wasn't like 4 verticals on Madden when your team is cooked and you're trying to just salvage something. You had plenty of clock to work with and plenty of patience needed to be applied here. And that's exactly what they're doing. Look, you can't do it forever. So at some point, the clock's going to work its way down, but they have some breathing room now to work with. And that's huge to be able to get a little more to stretch with. The idea here is not to give Baltimore the football back, or when they get it back, there's really nothing left to do. Work this clock, get over half midfield, and try and get into at least field goal position. That's the strategy right now. Another first down, and they're on Houston's 48. So with 3:05 left, plenty of chances here for the Texans to continue to move down the field. Cardinals just end this thing, and we go to half. So 20-0, nothing changed there. 20-0, Cardinals all over Washington. No way that this shifts in any fashion or form in the second half. You can still get them at around 20-21. Chiefs, with 2 minutes left, are trying to move the football down the field, but they're finding it pretty difficult against this Chargers defense. This is not coming easy by any means, even with a couple of short completions to like Edwards-Helaire. This is not coming very easy, or as easy, I think, as expected for Patrick Mahomes. And wow, I think that was way okay. So just to give you an idea of what's going on right now, 1st and 10 for the Houston Texans. Deshaun Watson drops back from his own 48, throws what looks to be a good pass before Peters comes out of nowhere for the Ravens and picks that off. That was a beautiful interception. Ravens with the football. Wow. We'll update you on everything going on with these 3 games. It is insane right now in the NFL.
I owe the IRS.
Man, what is he doing?
Garnish my.
I thought Carson Wentz was bad, man.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal. We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who will get the IRS off your back.
We saved our home and overcame the most powerful collection agency in the world.
Call Tax Solutions now. Time is running out. Call 800-296-9744. 800-296-9744. 800-296-9744. 800-296-9744.
You're going on a trip.
I'll see you later
but
this week, Trey.
Where are you going to stay? How much will it cost? Well, it'll cost less by booking on besthotelrates.com. Besthotelrates.com works with all the top hotels in the country while delivering you great hotel and room choices for the best prices. Why wait? Go to besthotelrates.com, enter your email address, and start shopping for your next hotel room. Besthotelrates.com. It's in the name. Besthotelrates.com.
Over 2.5 million. This Texans team against I won't say other good teams, against good teams in the league, it's the most predictable script in the world.
I'm just, I mean, I know, but
we are the Aviation
it's still
Institute of
difficult to
Maintenance,
watch.
and we train,
Oh, man.
we train our students hands-on with real aircraft.
We're just Lions fans with slightly higher expectations. Like, that's all it is.
Of labor statistics reports, the average aircraft technician in the United States makes over $62,000 a year.
Was Taylor hurt? I didn't think Taylor was hurt.
That's what's being reported now.
Call 800-877.
Although if Herbert leads them to a victory over KC, Taylor doesn't matter how healthy he is.
I mean, unless Herbert implodes, how do you go back to Taylor anyway?
Yeah, exactly.
At the Aviation Institute of Maintenance, we train tomorrow's technicians.
800-876-0097. 800-876-0097.
So on the
changes we're all dealing with is wearing a mask, but not all
see,
offer
on the
the
TV
same
show
comfort
we
and
did-
protection. I recommend the Boomer Naturals 3-layer comfortable breathable mask.
we have the
enhanced with
Chargers
nanosilver
plus
technology.
8.5, the
Nanosilver can
Broncos
block those
that
tiny
covered,
drops and particles from getting to your
and
nose
the
and mouth. They also offer those
fucking
popular nanosilver neck gaiters available.
no,
in
that
sizes for
Vikings
adults
game
and
went
children that are
under.
in stock now and shipped to you
Unbelievable, man.
fast. Order now.
What
at
a pathetic game that
boomernaturals.com.
was.
Use promo code Scott and save 20%. That's code Scott at boomernaturals.com.
The NFL Rush continues on the SportsMap Radio Network.
Powered by Rocket Mortgage.
Live from the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios, here's Eitan Shander.
A couple of storylines that pop from the early games, good and bad, and we have to cover them all. But we are watching right now the Kansas City Chiefs try and make their way into scoring territory, field goal territory, where they can at least get 3, if not a touchdown, as they trail 14-6 with 1:11 left. Mentioned before the break, I was watching it as it happened. Deshaun Watson dropped back. I don't know if he just missed Marcus Peters or thought he could put a ball in a window that didn't exist, but it looked like from multiple replays, Marcus Peters just came out of nowhere one of the more impressive interceptions you'll see all day today and tomorrow night included. But that seems to be the storyline here. And as Andrew Carlson has mentioned, as we're live on the stream, twitch.tv/Shander Show, in and around and through the breaks, it's been a theme watching this Texans team, but it's definitely been a theme today where every single time the Texans get a little bit of momentum. And here's the thing that's bizarre, or the norm, depending on how used to it you're watching it, but they create their own momentum. It's not like Baltimore's throwing the ball all over the place. It's not like there are interceptions. It's not like Baltimore's doing anything on their own, unforced errors. It's Houston is playing well, and they're able to create a scenario that should open up some momentum, but instead they turn around and blow it. And it's got to be insanely frustrating to see that, especially from a defensive standpoint, where it's like, oh, man, here we have to go out. Do it again. You know, the old GTA GIF where it's like, oh, bleep, here we go again. And you know that it's just the same old frustration that you have throughout. Big third down stop by the Chargers defense. 4th and 9 right now on the Chiefs' own 39. So they're going to have to punt. And it looks as if with a $1:05 left in the second quarter, the Chargers are going to get the football back, maybe with the chance to go up, but at the very least up 14-6. Justin Herbert has looked pretty good so far. They've used Eckler not only as we expect on the ground, but they've gone back because he was kind of ignored week 1, and it seemed like it was almost by design in the game plan to throw to a couple of other guys. Melvin Ingram is gingerly walking off the field right now. That is not good. That does not bode well for the Chargers if, in fact, he's out for the rest of the game. But this is what makes it so difficult right now. It's far from just one guy and one big name guy in Melvin Ingram who's gone down. A bunch of people have gone down. Saquon Barkley was out early in that Bears-Giants game, and that's huge. From a betting/fantasy standpoint, two things that carry the league right now outside of just general chatter. So, yes, the Giants are slop. And, yes, the Giants are not worth mentioning from a team standpoint because their defense is absolutely atrocious and they're just not good enough to do anything. But please don't ignore how important a fantasy/betting implication can be, especially from an injury standpoint. These games are impossible to bet on right now, outside of the obvious. Like the New York Asmans and the Washington football team is just atrocious. Both of those teams are atrocious. The Jets and the Washington team and probably one other team, if you really want to look at it, probably the Vikings, I would say. Like the NFL could relegate the Vikings and the Jets this year and nothing would really happen. Lions are going to stick around in some of these games so long as Stafford is up and healthy and throwing the football. But the Jets and the Vikings are so bad. Jets may not win more than 2 games this year. The Vikings are going to take one of the biggest steps back we've seen in a while for a team that made the playoffs last year. Kirk Cousins, 113 for 3 interceptions, 11 total points, 8 of them, mind you, coming in the final frame. Phillip Rivers outdueled Kirk Cousins today. Phillip Rivers looks like a shell of what Phillip Rivers was before he went to the Colts. That's how bad he looks down there in Indy, and yet still he was able to at least lead an offense down the field a couple of times. It is so bad what's happened in Minnesota and how much they've taken really a step back. All right, right now as we're winding down with 2 games here in the second quarter, waiting for that second half just to begin so we can get it over with in Arizona as they're up 20-0 over Washington. But the Texans with the football trailing 20-17. Remember, Andrew Carlson was running some sort of mind game on me and told me to bet them live plus 13. So I'm stuck with that ticket. Chargers up 14-6 with 1:01 left. They're on their own 7. after they stopped the Chiefs. Now it's just a matter of running this thing out. You can't give Kansas City a chance to score even a field goal with any time left on the clock. Texans trying to move it 1st and 10 on their own 45. So they have been able to move it a little bit up the field. Just get a field goal here. Again, we're back to the same scenario we were, except there's a little more pressure on you with 39 seconds left. But after this illegal contact call, 25 seconds left, 1st and 10 at midfield, you're going to have a chance, no timeouts, you're going to have a chance to get something here on the outside and stop the clock. You cannot take a sack. And there goes Watson moving with his legs. Boy, that's going to be tight. There's a flag down. Watson did complete the pass to Cooks, but we'll see what the flag is. Do you see what the flag is? You're ahead of me,
Another
Andrew.
illegal contact penalty that the Texans
on Baltimore.
decline. Yes.
All right, so they'll decline it. They'll be able to get up there, spike the football, and 1st and 10 on the Ravens 35. 17 seconds left.
Correct.
So with that said, you're able to, Tucker right now, or pardon me, not Tucker, but you're able to, because he kicked that one earlier, I would say down this side of the field. So trying to see if there was anything that would go against him. But it looks as if you're going to have an opportunity to take a shot and then kick the field goal, which is great. Take the shot, kick a field goal, right?
Yeah,
that's the plan. That's the game
what's gonna
plan.
happen. Look, now if that's what Bill O'Brien does, to be seen. You know, he doesn't exactly go by script a lot of the time, but that should be the game plan.
You've got some speed out there. I mean, you could theoretically take a shot in the end zone knowing that Watson can create or at least extend a play. What the hell else is he going to do? Now they're warming up ready. This is going to be a field goal here. It's just a matter of time, right?
Yeah, it should be.
Ice the kicker.
I have no clue what they're doing at this point. It looks like now they're lining up to take a shot.
Yeah. I don't know what. Initially, that's what they were at first, lining up to take a shot. And then it looked like they were going to bring the kicker out. And then it looked like, to your point, they're back ready to take a shot. 2nd and 1 after that 9-yard reception by Cobb. So clock's running, get up, spike it, take the field goal. Okay. I can't hate it. If anything, from 9 yards closer, this should do it. This should give you, look, you're able to get something back. Baltimore gets the ball to start the second half. So you have to come out and make a stop. You really have to. But this was all about cutting something, and not in half, technically, as you'll see it on the scoreboard, but there was a lot of momentum going Baltimore's way in this quarter. Ravens opened this thing up like a surgeon in the second quarter, and the Texans' saving grace was being able to negate some of that with their own touchdown. But from a defensive standpoint, even from a turnover standpoint to defensive standpoint, it started to crumble. He saw a couple of turnovers lead to Baltimore points, and it's impossible in this league to win when you're consistently turning the football over. So, I mean, what third and right now? Okay, the field goal is good. Fairbairn is good, and at that point, it's cut now from 20-7 to 20-10. That's the best you could have asked for right now. You were getting crushed this quarter. The game was slipping out of your hands this quarter. That drive is really big going into the half, mainly because you were able to put some points on the board. It's no longer so distant right now, the concept of coming out and beating the Ravens. This is a closer game if, in fact, the Texans can get a stop. Look, it's going to be really tough moving forward for Lamar Jackson to be kept out like he has so far. Only $146 in the air. He only has the one touchdown, and that's in the air so far. But even still, despite how difficult it is for Lamar Jackson to be contained, if Houston can come out, here's the scenario. Get a stop, turn around, at least 3. you are so far right now from the point of a touchdown or bust. And I don't mean like going for it on fourth down, but I'm just saying as far as that pressure is concerned. Speaking of which, it looks like the Chiefs just ended the first half with a pretty big sack on Justin Herbert. Now, again, there was 4 seconds left, and they were trying to get over midfield in order to kick a field goal with 1 second left on the clock, but that wasn't going to happen. So an offside penalty, mind you, is going to negate that play and give the Chargers another chance right now, but it's from Kansas City's 47. So if anything, you just kneel or you take one shot in the end zone, see if you can get a touchdown. Well, it looks like right now the Cardinals, 3rd and 1 on their own 34, 4th and 4, as the Washington football defense gets a pretty big stop. So that game is underway as well. So quick recap here before we break, hand things over at the top of the hour to Denton Day. But looking at everything in front of us, these 3 games, 13:57 left in the third quarter, just underway in the second half. Cardinals are up 20-0. It's at the half right now, as we mentioned, a big stop and then points on the board for the Texans. 20-10, they trail to the Ravens. And the Chiefs and Chargers, this is a play that's not going to matter at all. So we're just waiting for the clock to run out. It's going to be 14-6. The Chargers are up. Granted, they came into this getting 8.5 as home dogs, but here come the LA Chargers up 14-6 over the defending champs. At Shander Show, twitch.tv/Shander Show. So real quick before we break, Ryan Peach on Twitch, twitch.tv/Shander Show. Twitches us. My boy has a $15 to pay, $1,079.69, 7-pick parlay. He only needs Lamar Jackson plus 290 total yards to close it out. Well, Lamar right now is at 146 in the air and 28 on the ground. That is going to be something, man. To sweat that bet out over the second half is going to be ridiculous. Speaking of bets, we'll update all the live lines going on. And one big one that closed out in the early games will wrap the hour next year on the NFL Rush.
Jake Asman Show. Star Wars fans, and I'm one of them, are fed up. This is a $1 trillion franchise. You have 3 movies and 3 different interpretations. One of the key plot lines for the main character, what's going to happen. How do you screw this up? I mean, how do you have no idea who Rey's dad is or heritage is, the backstory of the most important character in the trilogy? It makes no sense. But when you watch the new trilogy, the biggest issue most fans have with it is that it feels like it's 3 totally separate movies that don't really intertwine with the storyline. Rian Johnson screwed up the middle one, all right? The last one, JJ's doing his best to try and save it, but it was all over the place. It felt forced. And then you know why it felt forced, because they had no idea what they were going to do.
Is this thing still not over yet? Jesus.
And Days.
So,
I thought the
9 to 11
how
Eastern.
much more time do they have on the open?
Always being Jake from State Farm every year. I would say Jake from State Farm. All you need is khaki pants, a red polo shirt, print out the State Farm logo, print out a name tag that says Jake.
Wow, Wolf now
and
dropped back to
you're
even
ready to
par.
go.
Only
It
he
is
shot
the go-to
5
costume
over
of mine
today.
because
Holy
it's-
shit.
People always laugh, and unlike
Oh,
other
this
people
thing's
that do
over.
it, my name is actually Jake.
Bryson is the only guy
Weekday mornings from 9
at
to 11
six,
Eastern.
at under par both on the tournament and today, the final day.
Is it in 3 lap and then
And you know he's going to talk his shit afterwards.
Yeah.
football? You are being
I
so
would too.
transparent. You are exposing all of your minions in the media who have talked about get politics out of sports. I'm watching sports for a distraction. You're fine with the president doing. I'm not going to hear at all about the president getting involved in this topic. So that idea of separating sports, I don't want to hear it. They want it out when it's against them. And so the line between sports and politics is gone. I don't ever want to hear another thing about Black Lives Matter or a guy kneeling in the end zone. that distracts you or whatnot, because that is gone. It's no longer a conversation. If you don't like that, okay, I'm sorry, but that's reality.
Pushing the odds with Matt Peralt. Weekday afternoons from 1 to 4 Eastern.
Coast to coast. Why should some teams be allowed to have fans and other teams can't have any? You talk about a disadvantage. I mean, it's that simple. Plus, who wants to go to a Dolphin game anyway? They suck. They're not going to play Tua. They're going to suck anyway like they always do. So who wants to go to a Dolphin game? Joe Ranieri knows they suck too. I wouldn't bet on him if it hit me in the head.
Pharrell Coast to Coast with Scott Pharrell. Weekdays from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern.
You're listening to the NFL Rush on the SportsMap Radio Network.
Powered by Rocket Mortgage.
Live from the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios, here's Eitan Shander.
All right. Again, live action as we speak is shifting. So coming up at the top of the hour, Denton Day continues all live and upcoming predictions for Sunday Night Football. 3 games in the second half. Biggest surprise has to be the Chargers right now, up 14-6. Now, if you're watching locally where I'm on, Fox 29 every Friday night, 10:30 Eastern time, props and locks. We were all over the Chargers. Now, we missed a couple, so I didn't want to bring too much attention to that earlier in the show because we didn't hit everything. Now, Drew Lock leaving with the shoulder killed us as far as Denver winning outright, but they at least covered the spread, and that was nice and refreshing to see. Looking around earlier, the biggest jump right now from the start of the season coming from last year to where we are now. Think about a team that finished really strong or a team that finished in the basement. Jaguars were definitely not expected to be 1-1 right now, and they lost a tight one where Ryan Tannehill just making his early bid for the league MVP. Bears are 2-0, but let's be honest, they beat bottom feeders, and they're not a bottom feeder this year. That's fair. They might fall off the rails. They might not even finish above 500, but they've earned these 2 victories at least against worse football teams. How in the world the Giants backdoor cover that with no Saquon Barkley is just beyond me. We know the Jets are just trash. We know the Jets are just so bad. They're just a really, really bad football team. Broncos are young, but they're going to compete. They're a backdoor cover. The Bengals are young, and they're going to compete. Both teams you have to look at each week as backdoor covers waiting to happen. But I think the biggest surprise 2 weeks in is just how bad Minnesota really is. Carolina, okay, we expect. I don't think anybody really thought that the Rams would be a bad football team or the Bucs would be this huge monster with Brady right away that would need time. But Minnesota is so bad.
20.
They might win 4 games this year. They might be the biggest bottom feeder in that division, to be honest with you. And that is a humongous turnaround. Great job, Andrew Carlson, producing the show. Back with you 11 to 1 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. Denton Day up next. Keep it here, SportsMap Radio.
Clear. Good stuff, hey, Tom.
You too, brother. Thank you.
Go sweat that plus 13.
Man, I will. I'll talk to you next week. Thanks again, bud. All right.